glorified, and the people of God edified.
The thoughts, views, and comments expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production of Glory 93.9 FM.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Everyone, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's truly a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for joining me on this Mindset Monday. You know what that means. We're going to be talking about shifting the paradigm as it relates to how you see a particular issue that could be affecting your life. And hopefully by the end of this show, you will be more equipped to be able to work through all of the difficulties that you're facing and with a brand new mind to strive for higher heights. So today's show, we are calling it From Distraction to Discipline to Dividends. Distraction to discipline to dividends. We are going to be talking about how you can turn your financial situation around, even if you find yourself living in a car right now. Because there are people who have done this before. There are people who have gone from living in their car, and I'm going to pull a clips today from one of them, to within 6 years becoming a multi-millionaire. So the question is, what did that person figure out that you need to figure out if you find yourself living in a car or going through some difficulty with your finances or just lost a job, whatever situation you find yourself in right now? Because let's face it, COVID-19 has done a number on our economy, not just here in the Bahamas, but around the world. People are facing some really hard times. And I always say that, you know, it's all about your response to the hard times that you're going through that makes a huge difference. So here to help us navigate through this really important topic today is someone who is very well equipped to do so. His name is Quentin Gibson, and he makes a living by advising people on how to do exactly what we're talking about today, going from distraction to discipline to dividends. Quentin, welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift. I need you to look into the camera, even though the camera's right in front of you. That little...
Where? Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
Yeah, that's your camera.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
So give us a little bit of your background, what you do, etc.
Yeah. So currently I'm a senior securities trader at RF Bank and Trust. I am a certified financial planner as well. I've been in the for about 8-9 years, but I've been specifically in investment banking for about 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I just recently started a company on financial that provides financial coaching services to help them bridge that gap between that's missing there on financial literacy.
Right. And this is such an important conversation to have, especially now with so many people going through, man. A lot of
Yes.
people are really hurting out there, lost their jobs, lost their homes, some at the end of their rope, and they may think, what can I possibly do? Is that a good position to be in? When you hit rock bottom, is that a good position to be in?
You know, sometimes it is good to kind of have nothing. It's a motivation that's there when you have nothing, and actually, it's sometimes when you reach that point where you have nothing. I mean, I tend to think that's almost better than having a little bit of something, because you can't really see. You know, if you're in debt and you're living off of debt, you can't really sometimes see that you're in the hole because you're still living a certain lifestyle. But
Right.
when you don't have any debt, but you don't have anything as well, that's it's kind of a good position to be in my opinion, to turn your life around.
You know, what you said just now is exactly in keeping with this clip that I'm about to play. This gentleman's name is Everett. I'm trying to find his last name on here. He has been a leader in the world of entrepreneurship, technology, and marketing for over a decade, helping to build several multi-million-dollar brands. His entrepreneurial journey began at the age of 19 with the event marketing technology firm Easy Events, which was successfully acquired in 2011. And as the founder of ET Enterprises, he built a diverse portfolio of companies that include Pop Social, Millisense, Ardex, Southside Fund, Haver, Growth Hackers, and Wave. But check this out. At the age of 17, he was homeless, living out of his car. By the age of 23, he was a multimillionaire. And I'm going to play several clips throughout the show. And in this particular clip, he talks about what Quentin just touched on. Because as he explains, a lot of times we try to fake it. Whereas what you need to do is put that energy into something else. Let's go to clip number 1.
We put so much energy and time into the presentation of not looking like that's the situation, instead of putting the energy and time into actually finding a solution to that issue. And so at that point, it was like, okay, I've been putting a lot of time and effort trying to pretend things are good instead of actually trying to find solutions. And then that's when I started to do everything I needed to do to try to make money. And just really, when I say embrace, it's not necessarily like accept it for what it is. It's almost like, okay, this is real. I need to figure this out. Take in your surroundings, you take in the people around you, you see how they're making money. And I just didn't like begging people for money. And so I respected the guys that were like figuring out hustles, right? And so, for instance, there was a Amoco right down the street from me. And so I would go there and I would wash windshields and make money, just try to save up enough money to just be in a motel for the night. And I mean like the nastiest motel, but for me, it was just taking in my environment, seeing how other people hustled, how I can do it better. Someone taught me how to play drums on buckets and things like that. And so, you know, I just tried to do any type of hustle that I could. I just started to learn how others were moving and kind of adapted throughout.
What are your thoughts on what he just said, Quentin? One of the things that I thought was powerful was that he said, I didn't feel comfortable begging. And so I figured out whatever hustle I could do. I want you to again look into your camera. What are your thoughts on what you just heard?
What stood out to me was when he said you have to embrace it, not accept what's actually happening, but you do have to be aware of what's going on. Have to be aware of the only way you can fix something if you know that it's happening. So that's what stood out to me the most. You said he didn't like begging. That was, if you're okay with being in that position, if you're comfortable in that scenario, why would you even want to leave it? You know what I mean? So I don't see where someone who wants more for themselves, I don't see where those persons don't actually pave a way for it.
It's all about figuring out what it is that you can do to get yourself out of the situation. So we're talking about using your creative juices, that's the time when you hit rock bottom. Really, if your mindset is right, acknowledging that you're there, stop faking it, And that's the time to get creative. That because when your back is against the wall, that is the time that your creative juices are at the highest point. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, I can even use myself as an example. Prior to where I am now, I was just a teller, just not too long ago either. I'm only 26 now. I was probably maybe like 20, 21 at the time. And I was just a teller, and my responsibilities kind of outweighed my income at the time. And I wrote poetry, and I was just writing poetry and posting it to my Instagram. And I realized, this is a hobby, but I need to find a way to monetize it. And despite other persons who may have been better poets than me, or may have been in that space a lot longer than me, I didn't really look at that. I kind of looked at, okay, I have a talent. I see people engaging with it, so I started having my own poetry events, and that in itself kind of helped me in my own financial situation. Kind of pave a little way and open my eyes a little bit to the fact that if you have a skill, you just need to learn how to monetize it. And monetizing these things is kind of what gets you out of these situations.
Mm-hmm. Now, you find yourself living in a car.
Yeah.
And you listening to this in your car
Mm-hmm.
right now. And they sucking their teeth saying, what do you know about my struggle? I live in a doggone car.
Mm-hmm.
How do you respond to a person like that?
I mean, it's different levels of struggle. Just because I'm not in your actual position doesn't mean that I don't understand what struggle is. I may not be able to understand specifically what you're going through, but everyone goes through things all the time. So if you don't want to, you can't look at where I came from. You have to look at where someone's at. If you want to get where someone is at, you have to listen to what they say, regardless of where they came from. I mean, let's be honest. If we can look at some of the most privileged people in this world, but they're at a certain level, and them giving you advice will do nothing but help you.
I think a part of the problem, I think he talks about it in one of the clips. I don't know if we're going to play that clip or not, because, I tried to cut up the presentation as much as I could. But one of the things that he talks about is that, if you find yourself where your back is against the wall, you have to do something. You need to look at your circle. See who you're hanging with. Mm-hmm. See who you spending time with. Is there anybody in your circle who can teach you anything? Who can help you to elevate yourself out of the condition you're in? Or is everybody in your circle in the same condition you're in? And if you don't have anybody within your circle who can help you to see beyond your current circumstances, then chances are you're going to have a harder time getting out of those circumstances. Mm-hmm. How important is it to level up when you're talking about the people that you surround yourself with?
It's very important. I mean, like what they say, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. It's very important. If you be around, you don't have any motivation if you're not around persons that aren't pushing you to go to the next level. If you're the top of your class, you're the top of everyone, and you're hanging with people that are, I don't want to say below you to kind of belittle people, but they're just not on your level in certain aspects. How can you even feel as though you need to excel further? If you constantly hang around persons that are comfortable with living in their car, and you're living in your car, and no one wants to get out, how is it that you're going to elevate yourself? You don't have any motivation. You don't even have to go out there and pave a way. And you know what I tell people, you don't even need to actually know persons. With the internet nowadays,
this is exactly what he said in one of his clips.
Yes. So because I went through it, so I could understand that what he's going to say. You could go on the internet and you can find so many interviews of successful, well-known persons, and from that alone, from you just listen to them speak, because what they say, when you don't know, you be quiet and you listen. So just from listening to their interviews, learning their minds and being inspired by those persons, that in itself will be like filling your circle with people who are more successful.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to necessarily have them in your face. But
no.
I mean, that's
you need to be exposed to them. That's the word, exposure. You need exposure to those things.
That's exactly what he was talking about in one of the clips. And I'm feverishly trying to find his last name for you guys, so you can look him up after the show. But that's exactly what he was talking about. The fact that he said, travel the world. He says, and I get it. Mm-hmm. You're saying, how can I travel the world when I have no money? The internet. You can log onto the internet on your phone and learn about other cultures, learn about other people, follow the people who have had success, the people that you want to be like. and learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, wow, this is really powerful. Now here's the thing though. When you really, really down and out, you lost your home, you lost your job, you're living out of your car, you're trying to figure out, I don't know what to do next, just to get just to begin the journey to get out of this. Sometimes when you're going through, it's really, really, really hard to see the forest for the trees because you're only focusing on the immediate thing right around you. How do you calm yourself enough to be able to see the forest and not just the trees that are seemingly trapping you in there? How do you see the forest?
See, you have to remember, no one's telling you it's easy. People are just telling you it's possible. Say that again.
Yeah,
no one's telling you that this is going to be easy or this is going to be a walk in the park. It's just someone's telling you that it's possible. And if you don't have any hope, you can't make it happen. That's just the reality of it all. If you don't have any, you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're just looking at it like, oh, this is just too much for me to bear. How could you even start the process of starting your journey on that road to success?
Wow. I know a lot of people are like, man, Michelle, I appreciate you trying to do a show like this, but I don't know. And another part of the problem is that a lot of people are pretty much only looking to the government to figure out how to get out of this. And I hate to say it, y'all, but if you sitting back waiting on the government to figure out how to get out of this, you're going to be in that car for a little while. Because clearly they are challenged. They're having a hard time just keeping up with feeding people. We're not hearing what the economic stimulus is going to look like. So you got to figure your way out of this. You can't sit back and wait for it to happen for you. And this is why I thought it was important to do this show today. Because a lot of people right now, I'm hearing story after story after story of, people with children in their homes and panicking and like, I don't know what to do. And I have children to feed and my job is gone. And you gotta be able to calm yourself enough to think, because we are all creative beings. It's all in there. It's just a matter of you channeling that in order to find your way out of this hole. Because go ahead.
I wanted to say, what I always talk about when I have my sessions with persons, you have to take accountability. You have to be accountable for your life. There's no one is in charge of your life, like you say. You do everything else like it's your life. So when not just the good things, the bad, you have to take on the bad as if it's your life as well. The moment I looked myself in the mirror and I said, you know what, and I wasn't in the worst of situations. It just wasn't ideal.
Mm-hmm.
I looked myself in the mirror. I said, you know what, this is on you. You haven't been doing what you should have been doing to secure yourself for years, and now things have changed. And the moment I told myself that, things started getting better. I was able to see things clearer. I wasn't so caught up in the fact that nothing's going my way, and this and like I say, people going with kids and losing their homes and stuff like that. I get it. I get how stressful that is. And it's not that I don't understand that, but if you don't take accountability, you can't blame everyone else for what's going on in your life. You have to take accountability, and from there, you start to see things clearer, because now you're no longer playing the blame game. You're playing you want to solve the problem. You don't no longer want to point out that others are causing a problem for you, instead of focusing on who started the problem, who was causing the problem. So let me use an analogy. Instead of focusing on who started the fire, you start to focus on how to put the fire out.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Focus on how to put the fire out instead of who started the fire. That's really powerful.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that people are listening to this today and really, not letting it go in one ear and come out the next. Because, I know a lot of people are really scared right now.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking, I'm not going to make it through this. Some people have checked out,
Yeah.
given up hope. But if you understand that there are people who have gone through this before you, there are people who have been who found themselves living in their cars, lost everything, and yet they were able to make it out of that, and not only make it out, not just survive, but thrive to the point where they became multi-millionaires. I just wanted to do this show today to encourage you out there, if you're going through a hard time, to know you don't have to stay there. You can and will get out of this. It's all about your mindset. So what you just said to us, Quentin, is you had a come to Jesus moment, a come to Jesus meeting with yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
So the first thing is acknowledging yourself that you have the problem.
Yeah.
And like he said in the first clip, stop putting all that energy into faking it, and put some of that energy into figuring out how to get out of it. However, I think it's important to say this, that when you're going through a difficult period like this, spirituality is also important as well. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I definitely agree. I mean, now personally, I focus on, acknowledging that there is a higher being, a higher power. And so, I just kind of generalize it, chalk it down to down to having faith, keeping hope. Those are the things, because some things you can't even explain. You can't even understand. Sometimes opportunities present themselves in front of you after you've had that moment, and you don't understand. You can't even figure out how and why this came to you. But you just have to be grateful and have gratitude that it did come to you in the way that it did, and that's it. I mean, like I said, just try to keep it general.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I do remember when I was going through a really hard time some years back. I'm the type of a person, I'm a doer. I feel I got to fix it. My thing is, nobody's coming. You got to get it done. And it's kind of weird because at that time, it seems like no matter what I did, I just couldn't get past getting it done. And it wasn't until I remember at one point, I was getting a call from the bank. And I'm just going to put it out there. I almost lost my home some years ago. And I remember the bank calling me that day. And it's so weird because that week, 2 of my friends died suddenly, unexpectedly, from stress-related illnesses. And when the bank called, and she says, Miss Malcolm, I'm just calling you to tell you to prepare yourself because we're getting ready to accept bids on your home. And I was doing everything. I was in between jobs. I was doing everything that I could to make this work, and it wasn't working. But it was at that point when I got beyond myself. And I said to her, ma'am, I'm doing everything that I can. But what I cannot do, I leave to a higher power. And I said to her, I'm not going to let you or your bank or anything else or anyone else stress me to the point of death. I said, 2 good friends died this week from stress. I said, so I have done the best that I can. What I cannot do, I leave to God. This is what I said to her. And she's like, well, I'm glad you feel that way, but I just wanted you to prepare yourself. I say, miss, you have a good day. But I had to get to that point where I realized this is bigger than you. I had to bring God into the equation. And when I did that, it was like, finally, you getting out of my way and letting me do what I got to do. Within less than a month, I received a call saying that they wanted me to come and do an interview for a job in Bimini. And I got the job, and that job paid me more money than I had ever made in my entire life. Clearly, I didn't lose my home. You know what I'm saying? But I had to get out of the way. And I want people to understand that while we're saying that it's important for you to do everything that you can and use your creativity and all of that, don't take, and I'm going to say it, God out of the picture. Quentin says higher power. I say
No, I
God.
just keep.
I know you keeping it neutral.
Yeah,
right.
don't-
I get it. Don't worry.
yeah.
But it's a gospel station, so we could say God.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Don't take God out of the picture, because it wasn't until I got out of his way. And don't get me wrong, you got to do everything you can within your power.
Mm-hmm.
The song says, after you've done all you can, which indicates you got to be doing something.
For sure.
Don't just sit back and throw your hand up in the air and say, well, I guess that's the end. No, you got to be doing something. But after you have done all you can, let God be God. Because he can move some things, some mountains that you can't move on your own. So yes, get the right mindset. Yes, do everything that you can do to fix the problem within your power, but know there's a greater power out there, and allow him to be a part of the equation. And I guarantee you, you will get out of the condition that you're in today. Sure. Guarantee you. Go ahead.
Even as you said, you know, I didn't have the same situation like you with the
home situation, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say that because I kind of have a home.
Right.
I inherited a home, but it still had a mortgage on it and everything. And like I said, it was the home I had, the mortgage I had versus the salary I had. It was just it just wasn't ideal. Like, and it was a very uncomfortable situation that I was in. And again, like you say, I kind of was just like, I'm doing all I can. And I remember I was about to go sit my Series 7 exam, which put me in the job the starting entry position that I started in the company I work at now. And I remember I was like, I'm going to do this exam, but it's nothing even, I don't even know if once I'm done with the exam, if I'll even have a position to move into. But I was like, I'm going to still go and do it. I got to do everything in my power. And I kid you not, I think 2 weeks before I was going to do the exam, I was told by the manager of that area that a position was opening. And if I had passed my exam, I would get the job there. And I was like, I just like you said, just be grateful. I was so grateful for that, because I was like, I was kind of going to this thing doing all I can, not knowing if it was going to work out. And ever since that moment, I've stressed nothing.
Yeah,
I've stressed nothing. I do things. I mean, of course, I still have moments, but long-term stress, I don't have anymore. I kind of I do all I can to excel in myself, and I just let it be.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to a couple of the comments on Facebook. Let's see. Janet Doe says, pain was my gain. Sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes you got to feel that pain in order for you to move to the next level. Dino Cartwright says, good morning, Michelle. Love the topic, #generational wealth. Yeah. Janet Doe again says, just trust God. You got to trust God. You got to do some things on your own now. You can't just sit back and fold your hand and say, God, I trust you, and you ain't doing nothing. No. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd be disappointed.
Yeah. But once you're doing all that you can, definitely bring God into the mix. Janet again says it was not an easy road. Just seek ye first the kingdom of God. And she also says, this is good teaching. Stacy Smith says, oh, wow. And she again says, amen. Leave it in God's hands when you've done all you can. That's the key. But you got to do all you can. You can't sit back. And I think that's a part of the problem, that some people sit back and do nothing and expect some pie to fall out of the sky. And I got a problem with that. That's not realistic. God expects you to be a part of your solution. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're talking to financial advisor Quentin Stubbs about how you can, Gibson, why I call you Stubbs? Quentin Gibson, about how you can go from distraction to discipline to dividends. You can make it happen, y'all. It is possible. It has been done. And we're going to give you some tools to show you how to do it. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break.
Car Rental and Auto Sales, Robinson Road and 5th Street, The Grove, is your premium choice for affordable transportation. Reliable cars at unbelievable prices. Ask about our daily rates, starting at $50, and our weekly rates, starting as low as $280. Call us at 437-4017 or 676-3977. Horton's Car Rental, your premium choice affordable transportation.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations. At the Gladstone Road Farmers Market, we provide you with the freshest produce, eggs, meat, and more. But what you don't see makes a difference too, like the care our farmers put into growing and raising that food for your family, the fewer miles that food travels from the farm to your plate, and the dollars you are keeping in our local community. Our open-air market is every Friday and Saturday. Come visit us, and be sure to look for the GPS-endorsed flyer. COVID-19 has affected all of us, but it won't stop us from serving you with a smile, even under the mask. Gladstone Road Farmers Market, home of fresh.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and my guest today is Quentin Gibson, and he is a financial advisor. And we are talking about from distraction to discipline. Distraction to discipline. I'm distracted because I'm trying to figure out this thing on StreamYard. Why we're not saying both of us. There you go. Okay, distraction to discipline to dividends. How to go from being down and out to really making it, no matter what you find yourself in as far as your circumstances are concerned. And again, I thought it was important to do this show today because a lot of people are down and out right now. A lot of people are having a really hard time just keeping their heads above water. And I know when through, it feels like you will never, ever be able to make it out of it. But I want to guarantee you today that you can and you will make it. Let's go to a couple of the comments. Let me go back to what that was because that isn't working. Okay, let's go to a couple comments. This one is from Stacy Smith. Stacy says, God will relieve it when you release it to him. Amen. And Janet Doe says, I can shout with you on this one. I had to let God will be done. Okay. Garen Ferguson says, without adversity, you'll never see your peak. And he also says, without adversity, there would not be any. And this is true. Because let's face it, if you don't face a difficult situation, then you will have no reason to press through it. So as opposed to looking at the difficulty as something that came to destroy you or hold you down, look at it as something that came to make you stronger. And this clip from Everett Taylor is his name. Everett Taylor, I want you to Google him. Remember now, at 17, he was homeless. And by the age of 23, he was a multi-millionaire. And in this clip from Mr. Taylor, he talks about the fact that you have to be relentless when it comes to doing what you need to do to getting out of your situation. You can't take this lying down. You got to be relentless. Let's go to clip number 2.
There's one thing being homeless, but there's another thing having everything taken away from you. I was literally living out of my car. And so even though I was homeless, I was still trying to uphold the appearance of everything being okay. When that moment happened, it was like, whoa, this is rock bottom, because now all my clothes are gone. All the cool shoes, all the things that were material, that, I tried to fake it until I figured things out, were gone now. And not only that, all the elements. So now rain and snow and all these things can get in the car. So it was like mildewy and smelly. And so I smelled, right? And so for me, in that moment, I understood that, wow, I thought things were bad, but things are really, really bad at this point. And now I can't pretend anymore. I just have to really embrace this. I think a lot of times when we're going through things, we kind of try to figure out how we're going to finesse our way into people not knowing that things are wrong, instead of just saying, this is my life. This is real now. You have like these brief moments of kind of peace until like the next accident happens, right? And that's just life in general. It's never going to be complete smooth sailing. One of the things that I've noticed about a lot of people is that they let the hardships and the things that happen in their life, failure, stop them from, like Aaliyah says, dust yourself off and try again, right? And for me, I've just never let anything or anybody prevent me from achieving what I want to achieve. And so I've always had this relentless mentality. And if you say I can't do something, if I fail, if I, mess up, it just motivates me even more. I just become even more hungry. And so I've always just had this, relentless mentality. I don't take, no for an answer. I don't take failure or accept failure at all. And it's just always been kind of in my heart to not give up. It's the rose that grew from concrete, right? It's like, no matter how terrible a situation is, no matter how bad it is, there's still going to be a rose that grows from that concrete. And I feel like I was that, right? No matter what my situation was, I was built for this. I was not going to let myself fail, right? And I have that mentality. And I understand that now that I grew from that concrete, I'm starting to plant my seeds, and there's more roses growing.
So, how important is it, Quentin, to have that tenacious attitude? I am not going to let this thing beat me. I am not going to give up. I am going to fight. I'm going to win this. I'm going to get over this. How important is it to be relentless in your pursuit of improving yourself and moving on to the next level?
I mean, it's one of the most important things you need to do. You got to have that desire and that burn within you to continue to excel. If not the most important thing that you need to have, you won't, like I said, for multiple things already, it's simply just, unless you're just lucky, it won't happen without those things, because there's so much failure along the way. There's so many failures, so many disappointment, so many things you just don't, you kind of have to get used to the idea. If you have comfortable with losing, almost, you have to get comfortable with not winning all the time, so that it doesn't hurt you as much, and you kind of just take it onto the chest and keep going. So it's definitely up there. I would say the most important part of it all is to have that desire and have that relentlessness in you to continue to pursue what it is that you want to pursue.
How important is it to be laser focused on what you have to do? Because here's what I mean by that. You may find that you are too busy looking at what is going on in somebody else's life. How come, this didn't affect them this way, or they don't have it as hard as I do? And it's almost like a pity party where you're feeling sorry for yourself that you have found yourself in this condition, whereas others seem to be doing okay or making it better than you. How important is it for you not to go down that road? Stay laser focused on doing what you need to do to get yourself out of your situation.
It's super important. Firstly, I want to say, we're looking at, as I told you, I do financial coach and I have my own business. It's called FinIQ, and I wrote a blog about 2 years ago. It's called The Rules of Money, and one of the rules of money was don't focus on your neighbor's money. Focus on your money. Don't focus on what your neighbor got going on, because if you focus on what they got going on, you can lose everything that you have. Do not focus on other people. But as far as just having focus and being focused on what you're doing, it's very important. And this is coming from someone who has struggled with focus. I remember when I was younger, my mom always used to say to me, "You never focus on what you're doing." And it was true. I had a hard time focusing on doing things, and I just saw the difference. And when going back to high school, when I wouldn't focus, I would get average grades, and when I did focus, I would get great grades. And that's just the difference there. I mean, some people they kind of just blessed with having that level of laser focus, and it's just something they naturally have. And then, for persons like me who don't have it naturally, you have to take time to zone in on something that you really, really want to do. For example, with my financial coaching, I've been super focused on this. I've been very focused. I'm talking for years, just consistently digesting information, exposing myself to hone in on and build on this craft and make it what it was. Now, had I not been focused, I would have never been able to launch this business. To be honest with you, because it would have never came to fruition. I wouldn't have had the knowledge to do it, and I wouldn't have had the passion to do it. So, focusing is very important. Like I said, coming from someone who has a hard time with it, I've seen both sides. The side where you don't focus and it's kind of whatever, and then the side when you do focus and it becomes this wonderful thing that you watch grow.
You've launched your business while a lot of other businesses are closing down, and this is the time when you decided to launch your business. I want to know how much courage that took, and how important is courage in this whole process, that you feel the fear and do it anyway, because that's really what courage is. Courage is not the absence of fear.
Yeah.
Courage is you feeling the fear, but you ignore it and you go for it anyway. How important is courage in this discussion?
It's very important. I've had a lot of things to mold me into having this courage. Like I said, I did an exam that that most people would at least a bachelor's in finance would do. I had no bachelor, straight out of used to the took over feeling the fear. Do videos as well, which takes a level of courage as well. So I've gotten used to it at this point. So it's not anything I can say. I can't just ignore it. Really, that's all I did. When something makes me feel uncomfortable, I keep doing it so that I get used to the feeling. That's the best thing. That's the best way I can describe it at this point. When if something makes me sweat or something gives me the chills or I feel nervous about something, and I just keep going doing it until I feel comfortable in the situation. I think as a MMA fighter, I admire him. His name is Conor McGregor. Something he said was, I don't know if he said it or if he got it from someone else, but he said, you become comfortable in being uncomfortable. So when situations make you feel uncomfortable, you become comfortable in them, and then you no longer feel uncomfortable about uncomfortable situations.
Because the comfort, even though it's uncomfortable, is more safe in some people's mind than the discomfort of what is out there, what you don't know. So this is why some people will stay in a bad position, because at least they know that bad position. But now you're talking about going out there and trying something else. That's scary because they don't know what that's going to bring. And so that makes sense what you're saying right now.
And I mean, because I've done it so much, and again, another thing that makes you comfortable in uncomfortable situations is by becoming knowledgeable and exposing yourself to certain things. So I know this is something that I've helped my friends with their finances. I've been focused on it and talking about it, and this is my first interview about this type of topic, and I've done it so much at this point. I felt no fear. I honestly didn't even. If I felt it, I didn't even notice it. I felt no anxiousness. If anything, I felt excitement when everything was ready to launch. I'm feeling excited even now with everything launching. So yeah, it's just when you feel fear, I would say just keep. It's not easy. Again, I never said it was easy. It's not easy, but it's possible. It's not an easy thing to do. Like I said, I was shy and I used to get nervous and my hands would sweat and everything. But now when my hands sweat and I get nervous, I deal with that then, and then I revisit it again so that it affects me less and less.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to a couple of comments on Facebook, and let's stream the contact numbers, producer, to call if you want to be a part of the show. Let's go ahead and stream those numbers. Okay, so the number to call, 828-3543, 828-3543, and the text line 828-2543, 828-2543. We're going to take a quick break. I know I said I'd read some comments, but I'm going to read them on the other side. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Horton's Car Rental and Auto Sales, Robinson Road and 5th Street, The Grove, is your premium choice for affordable transportation. We have reliable cars at unbelievable prices. Ask about our daily rates, starting at $50, and our weekly rates, starting as low as $280. Call us at 437-4017 or 676-3977. Horton's Car Rental, your premium choice for affordable transportation.
Stop letting the other guys run you hot while looking for ice. No need to check the food store, the gas station, conveniently located around Nassau. Cooler Ice. So for just $3 US, you can get a bag of ice whenever you want. Fill your 5-gallon bottle for the same $3. The ice machine is closer than you know. Cooler Ice. With locations at Arawak Key, Potter's Key Dock, Montague Boat Ramp, Superwash locations at Prince Charles, Carmichael Road, Soldier Road, Charles Saunders Highway, and 3 new locations, Superwash Nassau Street, Wolf Road, and Gibbs Corner. Cooler Ice Bahamas. Fresh and ready whenever you are.
Looking for an extraordinary junior high school with caring, qualified staff and affordable tuition? Then come visit us at Elite School of Excellence, an affiliate of First Step Academy. ABECA-focused and Ministry of Education approved, we foster discipline, integrity, and wisdom while molding our students for success. Call us at 341-8846 or stop by First Step Academy Schools on Fire Trail and Soldy Roads for more information. Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Pirateswell, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room. Sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. My guest today is Quentin Gibson, financial advisor. We're talking about from distraction to discipline to dividends. How do you go from being rock bottom to on top? It is possible. You are able to work your way up. Believe me, it is possible. And we're talking about things that you can do today to get you there. Our call line is 828-3543, 828-3543. And the text line is 828-2543. 828-2543 is the text line. And we would love to hear from you. So let's go to a couple of these Facebook comments. Janet Doe says, I'm not working, so I made a garden in my backyard, and that along with prayer kept me strong. She goes on to say, my plants made me realize I can do anything. They were once seeds, same as life. There is a season for everything. Good point. Because oftentimes when I'm talking to people who are going through a hard time, Quentin, I always tell them, you know, this situation that you find yourself in, it didn't come to stay. It came to pass. In other words, everything, it has a season. It cannot last forever. So don't think that because you're going through a hard time now, that this is going to be your situation forever. It's just a season. When the farmer plants a seed, that seed stays underground for a long time before it actually starts to sprout up. So if the farmer threw his hands up in the air after he planted the seed, he says, man, ain't nothing happened, then he would not see that harvest. We have our first caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift. Okay, we just lost that caller, so hopefully that person will call right back. Not sure what happened there. The number again to call, 828-3543, 828-3543. So yeah, let's talk about seasons, Quentin. Everything has a season. And sometimes people are going through their winter season and they give up thinking it'll never be spring again. It'll never be summer again. But if you just hold on long enough, the season will change, will it not?
I agree with you, but to a certain extent, your season only changes though if you keep going.
You got to plant the seeds.
Yeah,
right.
Your season, you can stay gloomy and rainy for as long as you want. You know, you have to, but your season only changes if you put in that initiative for it to change. Because I feel like your season changing could mean, you know, seasons of plenty and then seasons of lesser. But when we look at completely bad situations, I feel like those situations, you know, they can stay completely bad. Just because you hold on doesn't mean it actually change. You actually have to do something. You
have to be actively involved.
Yeah, like you were saying, you have to actually do something for it to change. And the same, you know, this is on the other point. Don't get discouraged when things aren't the best they can be. Sometimes they will be great, and then sometimes they'll just be okay. But you have to understand that, you know, everything is a circle. Even the economy, it's up sometimes, it's down sometimes.
That's life.
Exactly. Yeah, that's life. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Sometimes you wake up and you're ready to jump out of bed, and sometimes you wake up and you're like, just 5 more minutes. That's just how life is. So while I agree with you for sure, everything has a season. You know, I'm pretty sure you would much rather a season where everything is somewhat calm and calculated. You know what season is coming. You know, for summertime, you know it's going to be sunny. Winter, you know it's going to be colder. So you want to actually know what seasons are coming for you, versus, you know, just being unsure of what's actually going to happen. So, and I'll put that down to managing risk and like I said, being knowledgeable about where it is that you want to go and understanding what path you want to take. You know,
good stuff. Okay, let's go to a comment on Facebook. Gavin Roberts says, "You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain." Quote, Miyamoto Musashi. What is your response to that?
Yeah, I mean,
more than one path to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, for sure. You know, Tesla, you know, that's richest man in the world, but then Amazon, he's second richest man in the world now. Those are two different companies. You know, two different persons from two different walks of life. Yeah, I mean, you have it's more than one way to get there. You know, I completely agree with that. Not every path goes in the same direction, but they all can meet at the same place.
Right.
But if you're looking at sorry, I lost my train of thought just now.
Okay, no
I
worries.
was going to say something. Yeah,
It
it was something powerful too.
You're a young fella, coming back to you. It'll come
All
back.
right.
All right, let's go. Let's go to a comment from Facebook. Hillary DeVoe says a whole lot of people are going through it in the country. The whole pandemic has given people many a chance to think. Well, here's the thing. What we're trying to encourage you to do today is think as opposed to panic.
Yeah.
What is the big difference between panicking and acting out of that panic and thinking and acting out of that thought?
So with panic, I again, gonna relate this back to my familiar fields. Again, I wrote a blog called The 25 Rules of Money, and in the panicked always lose money. In crisis, they always lose money, while the cool calm collective make money. I'll give you a perfect example. Last year, when the economy, U.S. economy, started to decline and started to crash and was dropping by 30% a day, I told people that live here in the Bahamas, okay, there's a mutual fund that we have that will give you exposure to U.S. securities. While it's declining and everyone is panicking, wanting to sell and wanting to get out of their positions, this would be a good time to buy in. Don't panic. Even as your money starts to decline, don't panic. Just keep investing. The persons that sold and lost out on their money, they're currently they realize those losses. The persons that I told not to panic and to relax and to invest, they're up, I think, about 35 to 40% up in the last 9 months.
Oh, because they decided not to.
Or because they decided to stay calm.
To stay calm.
Yes.
And not.
And they benefited. I mean, unfortunately, they benefited from the persons that panicked. And that's kind of the swing of things. You're either on one side or the other.
Wow. I am looking for a quote from Warren Buffett. In the meantime, we're going to go to our next clip.
I think I know the quote you mean.
Go ahead. Tell me what it is.
The rich. I actually have it on my
It's about,
my FinIQ page.
About when you're greedy and the time to
Yes, I have it. I have it right here. I'm gonna get it right now.
All right. While we look that up, let's go to clip number 3. And in this clip, Everett Taylor is talking about the importance of putting yourself in a position where you're always learning something new. That's clip number 3.
What's so special about the internet now is really anything you want to do, you can learn. Like if you want to learn how to code, if you want to be a developer, you want to build software, you want to build apps, you can literally go on YouTube and learn how to code. And so what I would tell that person is, what do you want to do? Tell me anything. What do you want to do? Right? Now, there's resources and there's things online that can help you build yourself into whatever that is. So I think that kid, at the end of the day, he has to have that kind of just, I got to make this happen, right? Here's the thing. No one can teach you that. At the end of the day, man, you really got to want it. And now with social media, I don't care if you're in the middle of nowhere, you can log on to Instagram and see just this whole world of experiences and things. The problem is, it's like, oh, well, these people have it, so I should be able to have it. And it's just like, man, you don't see the work that goes behind this, man. I started my first marketing job at 14. I'm 10 years into entrepreneurship. It wasn't until the past few years where I started really getting recognition for it, right? And so people don't see all that it takes to even get to that point, and that's the problem. And so they think it's supposed to be this overnight thing. Oh, I started an LLC, give me money. Right. No, that's not how it works. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint, right? You never know when that moment is going to happen in your life where you find that passion or you figure it out. The fun part is just trying a bunch of stuff. Like when you get to a point where you can just try a bunch of stuff, it's like, hey, sit down, make a list. I'm interested in all these different things, right? Okay, I'm interested in these top 5 things. Now, how can I do something that not only am I passionate about with one of these top 5 things, but also make at least enough money to just get by.
The importance of learning, always learning something new. We both found the quote around the same time. It says, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." So that goes to exactly what Quentin just talked about, how he advises his people when others are panicking. That's the time for you to swoop in and take advantage of that panic. So don't panic, people, no matter what you're going through right now, because when you're panicking, then you're going to make decisions that you're going to regret later on. So it's important to calm yourself and think. But yeah, you got to learn new skills. You have to be willing to try something new, because let's face it, if what you're doing got you in the position you're in, then you can't be afraid to try something else. And I think a lot of people get stuck, Quentin, because they think, I don't know how to do anything else. There's nothing else I can do. This is the only thing I know. So how important is it for you to be open to learning new skills?
Very important. Very, very important. I mean, talking from a guy that's done poetry events, I've sold jewelry. I mean, I've done a lot of different, I've tried selling makeup, I've sold hair, I've done a lot of different things. And you know, it's only in doing all these different things you can find the things that you're actually passionate about. You have to be open. You have to be very open-minded and very, very open to exploring your different options. That's the only way you'll actually figure out what it is that you want to do.
I look at a person like Byron Coley Austin, and you know, I'm going to talk about him because I think he's a great success story. When Byron started his business, which is the Tiki Bikini Hut, Byron started that business with a cooler and some cool drinks in his cooler, and he decided to go to the beach and try to sell these cool drinks to the visitors on the beach. That's how he started his business, with a cooler and a couple of cool drinks. Today, the Tiki Bikini Hut has grown to be a very successful, internationally acclaimed hotspot right there on the beach where he started with his cooler. But he thought, he didn't panic. He said, okay, what can I do? I think he started his business with must be about $40 or $50. If I'm wrong, I'm sure he'll let me, he'll correct me with the amount, but I know it was less than $100. That's how he started his business. And today, I mean, pandemic obviously has hindered, them in a bit, but today he runs a successful business as a result. And so you have to be willing to try something new. You can't be so stuck in what you are doing that you're not willing to give something else a chance to work.
I also think it's important to point out that he also showed ability to adapt and grow, because when you start out selling, some stuff out of a cooler, to turn it into what you turn it into, I mean, most people, they make a few dollars. He didn't get comfortable with selling out of a cooler. He continued looking at how he can continue to grow and elevate and grow. So I think it's also important to point that out, his ability to adapt and grow.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go back to a couple of comments. Janet Doe says, I agree with him. You really got to want it. It's not easy at all. Facts. And Stacy Smith says, you have to definitely be open to different ventures, always have multiple streams of income. Janet Doe says, I learned so many different trades. And going back to Stacy says, I find that the businesses that started with little money are among those that soar. One key reason being you're not indebted to the bank. Well, that's another important thing that we need to talk about, Quentin, and that's not being afraid to start small. Don't despise small beginnings.
For sure, 100%.
Yeah. What? Let's dive deeper into that aspect of business, because some people think that, they're sitting back and they're waiting for this multi-million dollars to drop in their lap, this big time investor to come and say, here you are. But it doesn't always work that way. And sometimes you just have to start small where you are. So how important is it for people not to despise a small beginning?
It's very important. I mean, everyone starts somewhere. Like I said, you can't be focused on again. I mean, we go back to a clip that you played. You on social media, you get inspiration from it, but you don't look at it and see these people who have this large amounts of capital to do things that they're doing and say that you want to do the same thing. They started somewhere, just like you can start somewhere. You know what I mean? They think about it. Do you ever take a picture of yourself and share your lowest moments on social media? No, you share the best moments you can. So don't look at what everyone else is doing and how they are portraying their multi-million-dollar business, stuff like that. Focus on what you can do in that moment and focus on just growing from there.
Well, here's my thing with social media. And I'm glad you brought that up because social media in a lot of ways is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are only putting their very best I don't even want to say their best life because a lot of them faking their best life.
Yeah.
All right. So if you if you looking at social media as your standard and what you see people doing on social media, a lot of those people faking straight through because that is the draw of social media. Oh, I'm living this fabulous life. And then you miss and bump them for real and you realize that's all just an illusion. So whereas you should definitely embrace social media, because obviously that is the way to go in terms of business nowadays, in terms of getting the word out, that's the way to go. You can't ignore social media. I think you also need to realize that in many ways, that is just an illusion. And you got to deal with your reality and not allow the illusion of social media to cause you to get swing into making bad decisions based on what you see on social media. Is that correct?
Yeah, 100%. 1,000%. You don't get caught up. Don't get caught up. Like I said, you focus on yourself. You have to be very selfish when it comes to excelling and being successful. And when I say selfish, I don't mean share your water and your cookies. And I'm not talking about stuff like that. But you have to be selfish in your vision. You have to be selfish in your pursuit. You can't keep on worrying about what everyone else got going on. You got to selfish in the way that you look at yourself and the way that you see yourself and where you want to see yourself. Like you have to be very selfish in that sense.
Laser focused.
Yes. Focus. Wow. Yes. That's the best way to put it. You have to be very focused.
All right. Let's go back to a couple more comments. Again, the number to call 828-3543, 828-3543 is the number to call. And the text line is 828-2543, 828-2543. And guys, go ahead and like and share this show because, if we were talking politics or some, people would be like all into it. But this is the kind of information that people need to hear who going through a hard time right now. So please like and share the show. Stacy Smith said exactly, you can't despise humble beginnings. And she also says, laugh out loud, Lady Malcolm, social media is indeed an illusion. Ain't nobody's put their life on social media, only their best life. And many of those best lives you see ain't real.
Yeah, when I have on my best outfits, that's when I post my pictures.
Yeah. Ain't nobody putting their struggling life on social media. If you mind them, you'll run yourself right up on breaks.
Exactly.
Stacy Smith said, social media is a world within itself. And she also says he is absolutely correct. I think she meant something that you touched on earlier. Okay. So Quentin, step by step, what does a person need to do to start to crawl out of this hole they find themselves in? What are some of the things that realistically a person can do who find themselves in a position where, I'm at rock bottom. How do I get out of this hole? How would you advise that person?
All right, in the most general way I can say, again, and I'm gonna be covering basically some of the stuff we already talked about.
Okay.
So the first thing is being aware of your situation, understanding the situation that you're in, accepting the situation that you're in. From there, then you start to look for a solution. And you can explore new options, but everyone has a knowledge base. Everyone has something that they, familiar with. From there, you look at a way to monetize something that you already do, something that you already understand, and you speak up. At this point, you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose, so you don't shy away from asking anyone for any opportunity. You go out there and you seek your opportunities. You don't lay on your back and play dead. So acceptance. Understanding the situation you're in is the first step. Accepting the situation you're in is the second step. And then finding solutions is the last step. Now, that's the general way of looking at it. I can't tell you who I don't know. I don't know what situation a lot of people are in. I can't tell you exactly what you need to do. But generally, that is what needs to be done. You need to be aware, you need to accept, and then you need to solve.
Aware, accept, and solve.
Yeah.
Simple 3-step system.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. Gavin Roberts says, let's see. Schools need to teach the students the value of money and interest rates and how important to save for rainy days. Let's talk about our educational system, whether or not it is failing our children and not teaching our children how to think in terms of entrepreneurship as opposed to get a good education and go find a job. Is our education system failing us in that way?
Definitely think so. I felt that way. I mean, from even in school, I was like, this stuff kind of feels like whatever, but I'll do it anyway. And now, as I got older and I started figuring out, that a lot of stuff I learned in school didn't matter. I need to understand, like you said, interest rates. I need to understand the flow of money, investments, and all these other different things. I was like, I feel like if I had just learned some of these basic things in school, something I learned, $500 every month for 40 years can make me a millionaire.
How? Explain that.
If you were to take $500 and invest it into a fund that yields a mutual fund that yields a return of 5% or more, you will have over $1 million by the time as you retire. And I know what a lot of people will say when I tell them this. Oh, well, that's a long time. But how many people do you know that retired and they're millionaires? And I'm not saying your whole salary, $500. There's other things you can be doing out there to, put yourself in a better position financially. But that is something you can do to secure yourself, at least in the future. But, that's just kind of when I started learning these different numbers. And that's just from understanding compound interest, which they teach in school, but they don't teach you about money. They don't teach you, they don't teach you how much money you need if you want to live without working. How much money would you need invested, and what would you need it invested in? They don't teach you those types of things, and that is one of the main reasons why I started my company on financial coaching, because it's more to it than just financial coaching that I do. At least it's motivation. It's it's these types of conversations to keep you aware of what's going on and to kind of, like I said, bridge that gap of financial literacy that isn't taught there in school. A lot of things you're just expected to be taught at home, but no one's teaching them.
Yeah, because if your parents don't know that, how they can teach
you?
Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, that's kind of, I was more so taught to, save. But it was only as I advanced and I got better with money and stuff like that, I realized, saving isn't really the end goal.
Well, yeah.
The end goal, it's the start. Saving is the first part. But you have to invest. You have to multiply.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, yeah.
Yeah, great.
Exactly.
You actually need to go read that book if you haven't, or go watch Robert Kiyosaki's, is that how you pronounce his last name?
Yeah, Kiyosaki. Yeah.
Kiyosaki's videos on YouTube.
Yes.
Author Rich Dad, Poor Dad talks about this very same kind of thing. Okay, so let's look at a couple of comments. Bertha Smith says, nothing is wrong with starting small. You have to creep before you walk. It's called growing. This pandemic and all the lockdown gave us plenty to think about, especially learning how to spend wisely. Stacy Smith is saying, financial literacy is not taught in school and it needs to change. I agree completely. Janet Doe says, accept the things you can't change and keep moving. Let's go back to Stacy. Stacy says, all school taught me was how to look for X and Y. Why am I looking for someone's X? Stacy, you try to be a comedian. We having a serious conversation
Why
today.
am I looking for someone's X? I just got it.
And Bertha Smith says, no doubt about it, our education system needs a serious overhauling. Yeah, because we're not teaching wealth creation in our schools.
And I feel like it probably won't ever happen. So I feel like persons who understand it, like for example, I know that I understand wealth building. So I'm taking the initiative to put my services out there to help people. And I feel like more persons that understand it need to do that. Because I don't think it's been, I mean, has never been taught. It will not be taught. At least that's how I'm looking. I don't think it will be taught. So instead of trying to instead of talking about who started the fire, why don't you start, putting the fire out?
Mm-hmm. Good word. Good word. Good word. All right. We'd love to hear from you. Our telephone line again, 828-3543. That person who was calling earlier must see we're out of minutes or something because they didn't call back. 828-3543 is the number to call. And we'd love to hear your voice, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all on Facebook putting all the comments up and everything. And maybe it's easier for y'all to do that. But we would love to hear your voice every now and again, too. The text line is 828-2543, 828-2543, and the number to call is 828-3543, 828-3543. We're talking to financial advisor Quentin Gibson today about how to go from distraction, and the biggest distraction out there right now is this pandemic and the fact that people have lost their jobs and all that other stuff that has brought. That's a huge distraction. But we're talking about how to go from distraction to discipline, where you discipline yourself in the circumstances that you find yourself in, with a view to moving forward to get you to the point where you're not talking about dividends. You're talking about not just being able to keep your head above water, but being able to invest and see return on your investments because of the changes that you would have made. Understand that there are other people who have been in the position that you are in now. And this is why I've been playing clips from Everett Taylor, because he has been in the position that many of you are in now. At 17 years old, he was living in his car. He was homeless. And within 6 years, he became a multi-millionaire. And if you tuned in late, I want you to watch the show again later on Facebook, because he talked about it, how he had to figure out, hustle. He had to do what he had to do. He had a don't give up attitude. I'm not accepting failure. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to learn from who I need to learn from to try to get myself out of this condition. And not only did he get out of that condition, out of that position, but he was able to thrive to the point of becoming a multi-millionaire by the age of 23. So it is possible, people. This is something that you can do. You just got to calm yourself long enough to be able to see the forest beyond the trees and know that you can make it. You can get out of the condition that you're in, even in the midst of a pandemic, because what some people are looking at as a setback is really an opportunity for some people. It's this pandemic has been a blessing for some people in terms of their wealth, expanding even more as a result of the pandemic. So don't think that because there's a pandemic, that means that you can't do well, you can't survive, you can't thrive. That's not true. Because there's some people out there, Quentin, who are doing real well in the midst of this pandemic. This pandemic has actually helped them.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. In my field particularly.
Go closer to the mic. There you go.
Actually, the pandemic, I've actually not really experienced much hardship through the pandemic. Because in my field, with a lot of people who are, again, people who aren't going through the same struggles as a lot of other people, they're reaching out to me saying, where can I invest my money right now? Things are kind of shaky right now. So I'm having a lot of people that were reaching out to me last year, trying to invest their money into different things. So, and that in turn helped me and what I was doing. So like you say, it's despite the pandemic, there's always going to be people doing well, and there's always going to be people doing poor. For example, Netflix had one of their biggest returns last year. Tesla, Elon Musk, I know I talked about him earlier, just became the richest man in the world. Amazon, he was, I think if I remember correctly, at one point last year, what is his name? Jeff Bezos could have lost 99% of his wealth and still be a billionaire.
Wow.
People are doing, it's always going to be people doing well.
Whoever owns Zoom, I'm sure they roll
yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah. Zoom, a lot of the internet things did well during that time. So if you had the vision to see that that's what was doing well, all you needed to do was adjust. And that's a big part of life, adjusting.
I'm going to I'm going to read a couple more comments, and then we're going to take a break. And on the other side of the break, I want to talk about how to identify the thing that can be successful. And I'm going to explain what that means on the other side. But first, let's go to a couple of these comments. Stacy Smith says, this is a much needed conversation, especially during these hard economic times. Stacy, that's exactly why I decided to do this show today, because people need to have these kinds of conversations as opposed to, oh, the government only give me $20. No, boo, you got to look beyond the government, because the government they're not getting it done. So are you going to sit back and continue to just go deeper and deeper? Or are you going to find your way to crawl out of the hole that you're in? Janet Doe says, when I travel to other places, I learn a bit of their culture. I travel to learn. Stacy Smith says, wow, powerful story. Bertha Smith says, very intelligent young man on your show today. I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, very intelligent. Stacy says, what is the gentleman's contact, please? We'll get that at the end of the show, Stacy. And Janet Doe says, I learn in life that I am responsible, my life, I guess you mean for my life, and what I accepted, so I am the change. Here's the thing. You got to realize that in many ways, your life is a sum total of the decisions that you've made. Yes, there are external factors that can also impact your life, like a pandemic where you lost your job. But for the most part, your life is a sum total of the decisions that you have made. And if you want to create a brighter future, you have to look at your decision-making process. Would you agree, Quentin?
Yeah, 100%. The pandemic coming, I mean, even if it had affected you, had you prepared financially, maybe it would not have been such a big blow. Had you prepared years ahead, make sure you were saving, make sure you weren't living above your means. Every decision you make every day, it will affect you in the future, either negatively or positively. So I agree with that 100%.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we are going to talk about how you can identify what can help you climb out of this hole that you find yourself in. There are certain businesses that succeed and do very well and others that don't. What's the big difference between the two? We're going to talk about it on the other side. Stay with us. This is GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM.
Bishop Denzel Rowe, General Superintendent and the Executive Council of the Highway Church of God, Bahamas, invites you to attend its 56th Annual General Convention under the theme, Arise, a Call to Duty. Convening February 17th through 21st, 6:30 p.m. nightly at Southland Church of God, Soldier Road. Speakers include Bishop Denzel Rowe, Bishop Carvin Bain, Pastor Rakino Mounker, Bishop Robert McPhee, and Bishop Eric Josie. There will also be a special midday oil and water service on Tuesday the 18th at 12 p.m. with Apostle Raymond Wells. That's the Highway Church of God Bahamas' General Convention, February 17th through 21st, 6:30 p.m. nightly at the Southland Church of God. It's time to arise.
Ocean blue is the best in seafood, hey, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. We got fish, conch, lobster, shrimp, everything you want, Ocean Blue got it. Ocean Blue, friendly and clean, best service you ever seen. Ocean Blue is the best in seafood, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, hey. Ocean Blue Seafood, we are here for you. Ocean Blue Seafood, no one else will do. Ocean Blue Seafood, located on Burnett Road. Contact us at 393-2160.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all. Schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us. Want to look your best and feel even better? Visit J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa for the ultimate beauty, body, and anti-aging treatments, offering custom colors, haircuts, vegan anti-freeze treatments, silk blowouts, natural and acrylic nails, unisex pedicures, facials and massages, all waxing services, and microcurrent therapies for anti-aging and body sculpting. J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madeira Street, telephone 326-78 863.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and my guest today is a gentleman by the name of Quentin Gibson, and he is a financial advisor. And we are talking about from distraction to discipline to dividends, how to get out of the rut that you find yourself in now and turn your life around to the point where you living like a boss. You're getting some dividends back. You're making your money work for you as opposed to you working for your money. Now, prior to the break, I promised that we were going to talk about what makes certain businesses successful and others not. And I think a major part of it is that in order for you to have a business that succeeds, no matter how big or small, it's really all about meeting someone else's needs. The best businesses are the ones that solve problems for someone else. In the case of Byron Coley Austin, he solved a problem. You had tourists on the beach, hot, wanting something to drink. They would have to go across the street back to the hotel to get something if they wanted something. So he solved a problem. He said, okay, instead of you having to go back across the street, I bring in a drink to you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Another example, I've heard a story of two gentlemen, and I may have said this before on the show, and if you heard it, just bear with me. Two gentlemen working for a shoe store are sent to India to go and scope out the market. They both go to India. They see a bunch of people walking around with no shoes. One comes back and he submits his report. India would be a very bad market for us because nobody wears shoes. The other guy says, India would be the perfect market for us because everybody needs shoes. So it's all about your perspective. But if you are meeting a need, if you are providing a goods or services that people need, that is the starting point to a successful business. What do you say, Quentin?
100%. That is 100% the case. Again, we talked about Netflix and Amazon and Tesla and all these other companies before we went to break, but those companies met needs that were needed at that time. Netflix, a lot of people at home, they're bored. They're watching Netflix, Zoom. We can't meet face to face anymore, but these business meetings still need to happen. Amazon, you shouldn't be leaving your house, and they're bringing everything you need right to your front door. So it is definitely about solving a need, 100%. And even looking at it in what made me, again, and you said I'm starting a business when and it's time like this, but it's a need. There's a need out there for people to.
This is the perfect time for your business. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of people felt what it is to not be prepared financially. That's a fresh feeling for a lot of people. So this is a perfect time for me to start my business.
I'm having the same kind of experience as a health coach because now more than ever, everyone around the world is worried about their health.
Yeah.
So this is the perfect time to be in the health business because so it's all about adjusting to the realities of the day, the needs of the day, and finding a way to meeting those needs. And that is that's the starting point of having a successful business. You may have and I think this is important for people to understand, you may have this wonderful idea in your head about this business that you've always wanted to do. But if because of the times that you're in, that is not necessarily a need, it doesn't make sense for you to forge ahead doing that just because that's your dream when you're not meeting a need, because that dream is going to become a nightmare. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to a couple of comments. And then we're going to talk about what we were talking about during the break. He had a really good point he made during the break. Okay. So Gavin Roberts says, so how can a Bahamian invest in U.S. stock markets? What are the procedures? Can you answer that?
So investing in U.S. stock market is, so what I talked about was a fund that gave you international exposure that we offer. Now, currently, the Central Bank of Bahamas restricted any foreign currency investments. So at the time, it's really not easy. It can't be done, at least through us. Investing in individual U.S. securities has never been something that I've been able to do at the company I work for, and has always been a tedious process. So it is possible, but you would really have to speak with someone from the Central Bank of the Bahamas if you wanted guidance on how you could go about that.
All right. We have another comment. This one coming in from Stacy. She says, perspective is very powerful. Some people are slaves to negative and defeated perspective. And let me tell you, if you find let me tell you, there is power in thought, because everything that you say begins as a thought. The Bible tells you, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you are coming into this situation with a negative mindset, thinking negatively, thinking defeatist attitude, you will be absolutely correct. If you come into this with a positive mindset, thinking, I'm going to make it through this, I'm going to not only survive, but I'm going to thrive, I'm going to turn the situation around, guess what? You will be absolutely correct. One way or the other. As a man thinketh, so is he. So let's talk about that mindset, Quentin. The importance of having the right mindset to make it out of this.
100%. Yeah. You have to, mentally, you have to be there. And that's something I learned probably around the year of like 2018. At first I always thought that talent is what would get you there. And then I started to think, if you're passionate about something, that's going to be it for you. And then I finally realized in the year 2018 that mentality is what as those are actually three words I want to actually get tattooed on my chest, possibly, because it meant so much to me, because I would focus on being talented at something, and it would just not be, it would be enough, but it just wouldn't be everything. Then I started focusing on just being passionate. If I cared enough about something, if I just really cared enough about it, it would be enough. But then you still break somewhere. But once you're strong mentally, and you have it in your mind that you want something to go a certain way, and you mix it with talent and passion, but mentality is what holds it all together.
So I want to talk about the importance of making sure that you have some kind of skill set. And I know we've sort of touched on it throughout the show, but I want us to really zone in on it a little bit more in this last few minutes of the show. Because if you have to cut down a tree, it just makes sense to make sure that you start with a very sharp axe. You could, it'll take you a lot less time to cut down that tree with a sharp axe than with a dull table knife.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you could be there forever trying to cut down that tree with a dull table knife. So even in the midst of this pandemic, we heard from the one of the clips that we played earlier in terms of getting information, and it doesn't mean that you have to go enroll in school, because if you don't have a job, you can't do that. But if you have internet access, or you can get to somewhere where there's internet access, there's the University of YouTube, where you can sharpen your skills and learn something new that is going to help you to make it through. And there's one more thing that you have to remember, and this is, I want you to prepare the last clip. What you need to remember is that this is a process. It's a process. So don't think that it's going to happen overnight. Give yourself room to grow through this. Give yourself room to make mistakes and get back up again. But understand that this is a process. Let's play that clip.
This is a marathon. This is not a sprint, right? You never know when that moment is going to happen in your life where you find that passion or you figure it out. The fun part is just trying a bunch of stuff. Like when you get to a point where you can just try a bunch of stuff, it's like, hey, sit down, make a list. I'm interested in all these different things, right? Okay, I'm interested in these top 5 things. Now, how can I do something that not only am I passionate about with one of these top 5 things, but also make at least enough money to just get by? A lot of times the thing that's stopping us from being the person that we truly want to be is ourselves. It's usually ourselves. And I think being able to identify mental health, depression, anxiety, all these things that we're dealing with, and say that we want to make a change and we humble ourselves to want to make that change is one of the biggest barriers that one can break through.
So powerful. Now, during the break, you and I were discussing the importance of understanding when it may be better to let go of something. Mm-hmm. Because oftentimes we have emotional attachment and we don't want to let go of something because of that emotional attachment. Mm-hmm. I don't want to let go of this home because my mother built this house and she gave this house to me. And I don't, she worked so hard to build this house, so I can't let this house go. How important is it, Quentin, sometimes to move beyond the emotional attachment to make a wise decision to help you to get through?
It's very important. I mean, sometimes you don't understand that these things are actually weighing you down at this point. It's not helping you. It's not helping your situation, and it's not making your situation any better. Like you were saying, you said your story, and things worked out in time, and like you said, in God's time, though. Mm-hmm. But God's time just happened to be perfect enough for you to keep your place.
Right.
It can happen where that doesn't happen that way, and you're gonna have to let go of certain things because at the end of the day, they're all material things. They don't really matter, and it's doing nothing but draining you. Because let's be honest, if you're job to job, trying to keep enough money just to keep a place, to keep a house that you got, and it's of no real, it's there's not much equity in it, or let's say or even selling it, not just letting the bank take it, but I know selling it is not as easy as I'm making it seem. Or even renting it and moving out of it. There's a lot of different options out there, though. There's a lot of different things you can do. You don't have to stay in there. You can find someone, I'm sure, that'll be open and willing to rent out your place while you go in and maybe stay in you maybe stay at a friend's place or stay at a family's place if they understand the position you're in. But there are adjustments that you're gonna have to make, and you're gonna have to let go of certain things, because if you want to, if not letting this house go, it's hurting you that much, I think you're focusing more on material. You're focusing more on like you said, you're not letting go of
the emotional attachment.
And you're still trying to live as if you can afford something that you no longer can afford. This no longer fits in your lifestyle. You do sometimes have to let those things go, because now if you're focusing on a home that's that's just draining your pockets constantly, and that's what homes do. I mean, unless you have a rental property, most times it's draining your pockets. You're focusing on keeping it. Imagine what you could have done had you just realized, okay, I'm just gonna have to let this go and build from here and come back stronger. You can always come back. You can always bounce back, always. But if you focus on never actually hitting the floor, you won't have any bounce to bounce back.
Interesting. As I was preparing for the show, I came across another Rags to Riches story. I didn't use any of his clips because I thought that Everett Taylor's clips were powerful within themselves. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that this gentleman was talking about was after he had become this huge success, he was so emotionally tied to a particular business that his advisor said to him, "It's time to sell this business." And at first he said yes. And then he was like, "No, I can't let this go. This is my baby. I built this business from scratch. I just can't let it go." And so he calls his advisor and he says, "I've decided not to sell the business." And his advisor was like, why not? And he says, because this is my baby. And he says, no, your baby is at home with your wife. That's your baby. That's your family. That's what's giving you love. This is a business. This is an asset that at this point in time, if you sell it, will be a benefit to you. But if you hold on to this just for your emotional reasons, it's going to become a burden to you. He said, and it hit him like a ton of bricks to hear that, but he eventually decided that the advisor was right, that he had to let go of something that he had an emotional attachment to, because at the time of letting it go, it was a blessing to do so. And had he kept it, it would have been a burden. And I'm really glad that you brought that up, Quentin, during the break, because that's a really important point for us to make, because some people are holding on to stuff for emotional reasons. And maybe letting that thing go would be the very thing that you need to get you out of this position. And like he said, you can always rebuild. You can always regain what you would have lost.
Like the guy you were talking about.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he had nothing. He had no home. He had nothing to stop him from continue. Because his goal wasn't, oh, I'm going to keep this house. His goal is, oh, I'm going to make it. You know what I mean? If you're focusing on the house and you're focusing on just, keeping this, but when you don't have anything, you're like, I just want my life to get better and better and better and better. And then next thing you know, multi-millionaire.
It's possible, people. Yeah. It's doable. All right. So we got a couple minutes left in the show. I'm going to read one or two comments, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. So Stacy says, yes, you have to let it go. Sometimes you got to let it go, Stacy. You got to let it go. It's hard, but you have to go. And Bertha says, wow, that is powerful. Okay. So somebody out there, Quentin, I know you've covered a lot of this already, but I want you to speak directly to people out there who are at the bottom. They have hit rock bottom, and many of them no fault of their own, as far as you, like I said on another show, these are people who never had an issue meeting their commitments, but now they find themselves in this. And I want you to speak directly to those people who find themselves in that position right now, and give them a word of encouragement as to what they could do to turn this around.
I would say to you, you're not the first. You won't be the last person to go through this. And everyone that has gone through it, most of them, they come out on top. And you want to be the person that comes out on top. And the only person stopping you from coming back out on top is yourself. And if you just have the confidence within yourself, you have the desire within yourself to make yourself a better person and to grow from the situation and to not let it defeat you. That's all you really need from now. Once you talk to yourself and you realize within yourself that you want something to happen for you, there's nothing else you need. You don't need me to financially coach you. You don't need any of that. You just need yourself. And once you have yourself, I can't. Once you have the confidence in yourself, I can't advise you on anything else that you could need other than that. Confidence in yourself and belief in yourself and the willingness to bet on yourself to make it out of the situation is more powerful than you'll ever know.
Wow. That's some powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So people have been asking how to contact you if they wanted you to help them out or give them some advice. So go ahead and plug yourself.
You could contact me at FinIQ on that's the name of the company. So it's FinIQ on Facebook. FIN.IQ on Facebook, and then on Instagram it's FinIQ_ByQ, so FINIQ_ByQ, and then you can also email me at fin.iq242@gmail.com.
So one of the things that Quentin just touched on, and I think is really important for us to end the show with, is understanding that you have to get to the place where there is no shame in your game. Because you're not the first person to go through this. You won't be the last person to go through it. And as opposed to using energy, worrying about what people can say, or being ashamed of where you find yourself right now, flip that script. Take that energy and direct it to your creative inner self. Don't forget God in the process, because he is the ultimate source of creativity. And I guarantee if you're a praying person, just pray one prayer. Lord, give me a good idea that I can turn into a business. And your mind will be flooded with things that you can do, even in your current circumstance. You just got to quiet yourself enough to hear it. But if you give yourself the opportunity to think and to hear from the Almighty, I am telling you, he has ideas that you would never, ever, you'd be like, well, why didn't I think of this before? Mm-hmm. But you got to trust. And you have to have hope. And you have to have a positive mindset. You cannot allow yourself to get into a depression, to get into hopelessness, because once you go down that path, man, it's really hard to climb out of that hole. And so Quentin is absolutely right. You can reach out to him to get some advice. And you can, like you said, just believe in yourself. Understand that it is within you. The potential is already within you. Because, I often, when I'm doing my lectures, Quentin, I talk to young people, especially about understanding the power of potential. Mm-hmm. And I always talk about the fact that a seed has written into its DNA the ability to reproduce. But it has to be put into the right environment to reproduce. Mm-hmm. So if I take that seed and I put that on a windowsill and I leave it there, it will never fulfill its potential. Right. But if I get that seed in some soil, put some water on that, and the sun starts beating down on that thing, all of a sudden that seed is going to realize its potential. The potential was always within it. Yeah. That's what I need you to understand, people. The potential to get out of your circumstance right now is already within you. It's already in you. You just got to get in that environment. And a big part of that environment is your mindset. Having a positive mindset, a winning mindset, not starving your potential with negative thoughts. Your final thoughts, Quentin?
The name of it all was from distraction
to discipline to dividends. Yeah.
So I was thinking about it. I was like, I'll find a way to incorporate that in my money thing. So don't be distracted by other people's money. Stay disciplined with your money, and at the end, it will always pay dividends.
All right. Good word. Good word. Thank you so much. We're going to get one more comment in there. This is Bertha saying, with Christ in the vessel, you can surely smile at your storm. He never fails. Honestly, and sometimes, the storm is what has to come into your life to push you in the direction where you're supposed to go.
100%.
So don't always look at some people go through difficulties and say, oh, the devil, and the devil, the Lord just trying to get you where he needs you to be.
Pressure make diamonds.
You understand? Yeah. So that very storm in your life could be the very thing that he uses to get you where he wants you to be.
For sure.
Understand that. And when you get to that point and you embrace the reality, then you'd be amazed at how things will turn around in your life. So I want to personally encourage you out there. If you're going through a hard time, you can and you will get through this. I'm telling you, do not give up. Do not lose hope. You can and you will get through this. So I want to end with those words of encouragement today. So a huge thanks to all of you who were a part of the show today, whether you listened by radio or tune in or tuned in via Facebook, watching our live stream. Welcome to you all. Just remember to still like and share the show so we can get this information out to people, guys, because we need to hear this. People need to hear this so that they don't lose hope. Big thanks to my sponsors for making today's shows possible. Thanks to Chevette Williamson for this cute necklace she has on me today, and Sonia from JD Edwards Salon for my cute hairstyle. Thank you guys very much for your support. And tomorrow we're going to be Topical Tuesday tomorrow. So we're going to be looking at a topic that is in the news here in the Bahamas. It's going to be a good one. So Don't you miss tomorrow's show. That's going to do it. I am Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us on GPS Global Paradigm Shift, and do enjoy the rest of your afternoon.